Today I'm on the Millennium Falcon. Only if Disney World was open, I could actually go on the Millennium Falcon, but now I'll just have to pretend that I'm on one. All right, so today for reading, you read chapter 6, The Big Idea. So this is the aha moment, the part where their story starts to turn and to see if he can solve his problem with Miss Granger and all the battles, them going back and forth. So he came up with a great idea, and you'll notice that from her lesson, from him giving his report and her talking to him about where words came from, he took his report and went further with it and tried to create a new word. Try to give the word for pen. Yes, pen. Ooh, disappeared. Yes, a new word, Frindle, and that's where the name of our book comes from. So he's going to see if he can do what she said by just calling a pen Frindle and keep on using it over and over to see if it catches on, where other people will now then start to use that word Frindle for the word pen instead of the word pen, and to see if he can actually change the word and create a new word for pen. So let's see if from his report to doing this, let's see if it works, and if to prove his teacher right or to prove his teacher wrong, or just to get on her nerves. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish here, but he took his report and his conversation with his teacher and took it a little further and used his problem-solving skills to create something new and being very inquisitive, which I love. And this is a great type of student. Like I told you at the beginning, I think I would like to have him because he does a lot of problem solving and he thinks about things and he's very creative. So let's go ahead and get started with checking our work. So let me change it back to our classroom, you guys. There we go. And let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen with you. Here we go. Close that. All right. So the word oath on the last page of the chapter, there was the word oath, and his 6 friends took an oath to now call a pen Frindle. So they are going to use the name Frindle from now on to see if they can get other people to start using the word Frindle and to change the word for pen into Frindle. So the word oath, I thought, because I'm using my context clues before I look it up, I thought the word oath would mean, like I said, a pledge. Like a pledge. I'm going to pledge to do this. All right. And then when I saw it, and when I looked it up, it was sort of the same thing, a promise. So when I looked up through Google, it said a promise. All right. So that's what an oath means, a promise or a pledge. All right. Now I'm going to go to the next one. Nick accidentally knocked Janet off the curb because he wasn't paying attention. He was thinking about other things. So Nick is capitalized as the beginning of a word and it is a proper noun. Janet is a proper noun, so it needs to be capitalized. And you need to have a period. This is a statement. Janet found a gold ballpoint pen. Janet needs to be capitalized because it's a proper noun, and there's a period at the end. There you go. There's our grammar for right there. Nick accidentally knocked Janet off the curb, and Janet found a gold ballpoint pen. All right. Let's clear that off and go to our next one. All right, here we go. Oh, I forgot to, you guys, I totally forgot that not only do we need to fix it, but it also says you had to circle the subject and underline the predicate. We've done this in class before. I totally forgot to read that direction. That's why I always go back and double check too. So now that I underlined it and corrected the sentence, now let's circle the subject. And you know the subject is who they're talking about and any words before who they're talking about. So the subject in Nick accidentally knocked Janet off the curb. This would be Nick is the subject. That's who they're talking about. And what did Nick do? That would be the predicate. So that Nick is the subject in the whole sentence. Now, if there was any words before Nick, that would also be the subject, but there's not. Now, what did Nick do? That would be the predicate, that verb. And it's he accidentally knocked Janet off the curb. And yes, that word accidentally is also a part of the predicate because what did he do? He knocked Janet off the curb, but he accidentally, so that is an adverb. So it's a word describing the verb, what he did. So that is the predicate. All right, Janet found a gold ballpoint pen. Again, the subject in this sentence would be who the sentence is talking about, and that would be Janet. And there's no words before Janet, so that's the subject. Now, what did she do? That would be the predicate. The what? Found a gold ballpoint pen. So there you go. That is the predicate. So make sure, friends, that you have the subject and the predicate down. We've done this in class. Remember, the subject is who the sentence is talking about and any words before that noun. And the predicate is the verb. What are they doing in the sentence? All right, now let's go to the next part. All right, here we go. Read the sentence from the text. They were at the corner of their own street. Nick had bumped into her, completely absorbed in his thoughts. So what does the word absorb mean as it is used in the sentence? So this one was a tricky one because you could have said, oh, it's A or B. But the thing is, you have to really think about the sentence to know the correct answer. If you just automatically chose A because he wasn't paying attention, so he bumped into Janet. That's not what it's asking. It's asking what does the word absorbed mean in the sentence. So I know it's not C or D. He didn't decorate something and he didn't flip over something. So you take those words and put them in the sentence and see which one makes sense. So I'm going to put it in a sentence. I'm saying Nick had bumped into her, completely not paying attention in his thoughts. Completely not paying attention in his thoughts. That doesn't make sense. Completely focused on his thoughts. That one makes sense. So the word absorbed means he's focused on. And that is why he bumped into her, because he's focused on his thoughts, his own thoughts. So B was focused on. So you also need to pay attention, read it very carefully, and substitute it. That's using your context words. Substitute the answers for that word that you're trying to find out to see if it makes sense. All right, number 4. Why did Nick walk home from school with Janet Fisk? Now, this was directly in the text. It was the first on the first page because they missed the bus due to a school newspaper meeting. So you just need to go back and look. That was on the first page of the text. That's a direct answer there. All right, so it's a little bit more simpler. I'm going to clear this off. Here we go and go to number 5. What are the 3 events that caused Nick to formulate and create a new plan? Well, this whole chapter, the big idea, the first sentence says 3 things happened later that same afternoon. 3 things happened. So, the whole chapter says 3 things happen. The first sentence is 3 things happen. You have to find those 3 things. And it even tells you in the chapter, throughout the chapter, it says, first, this is the first thing. Then this is the second thing. Then this is the third thing. All right. So the first thing it said was that, it says on page 33, that first page, that was the first thing, Janet finding the pen. So remember, he got home from school. He was trying to come up with an idea of how he was going to, fix this problem with his teacher, trying to get her to waste time. And she said something about how words are, because his assignment was about where do words come from, and how people make the word. People say the word. And because people use it over and over again, that's what makes the word the word. Like the word dog, she said. The word dog, D-O-G, in English means the puppy, because that's what we say. We say it all the time. However, if someone was to say a different word, then that where dog would become differently. And that's where he gets the idea for Frindle. So the first thing to get to this idea, this crazy idea that he's going to change the word pin to Frindle, because if people say it over and over again, then it just automatically changes it, like she said. Was the first thing is that Janet found the pin. So I'm going to put it here. First thing, Janet found the pin. Then it said the second thing was that he finally understood when she found the pin, he was thinking about what she was doing. He says, that was the second thing, understanding that Miss Granger had said, understanding what Miss Granger had said. So the second thing was understanding what Mrs. Granger had said. What she said about how words are created, how when people say that's the word and everyone starts to say it too, then that's the word. So you can change words. And that's why the dictionary has new words. And I've told you this before in class, how every year they come up with a new edition because they add words to the dictionary because our language is always creating new words. And how even in our text, it said that some words were from Greek and Latin, and how we still have some root words from Greek and Latin, but we have developed them over time. The words have changed, and that's why there's new dictionaries every year, because they add words that we have created, that we have said. And sometimes we call them slang words, and then eventually those slang words that we use become real words because we use them so often, and that's why they get added to the dictionary. So number 3, what was the third thing he did? He realized, the third thing he realized he was going to do to come up with his new plan is he called a pin Frindle instead of. All right, so that was the third thing he said. He said, Frindle, here's your Frindle back to Janet when he picked it up. So that's when he realized this was a great idea. So I don't know how this is going to annoy his teacher, but we will see what this leads to with his teacher and what his teacher thinks about probably in the next chapter. I'm going to clear that off and go to the next page. Number 6. How does the illustration on page 36 impact the reader's understanding? So on page 36, you see that he gives the pen back to her, and then the caption says, big idea. So this is obviously where he gets the idea. This impacts it because this is his idea. This is like the turning point of the book where he finally comes up with a way to solve his problem with his teacher, because his teacher's starting to get on his nerves because he can't waste her time at all. So how does that illustration, that picture, impact the story of the readers? Well, because it shows the big idea. I'm going to write here. This illustration shows the moment of Nick's idea to help solve his battle with Mrs. Granger. All right, so there you go. That is the moment of his big idea right there. All right. And that's how it impacts, because it shows his big idea. Like, aha. It even like has it, if you look at it, it even like has the pin with like, it looks like it's shining. Aha, his idea. All right. Number 7. Oops. Move that out of the way. Number 7 says, the first part of Nick's plan involves conducting a trial. Sort of like science, where you have to do experiments and see if they work or they'll fail. So he does a trial. The trial is defined as a test to measure the performance of something or someone. Summarize the penny pantry trials. So here, this is what I wrote. And if you didn't know what the penny pantry trials were, it says penny pantry on page 37. And it talks about the next day after school, the plan began. And it talks about what the kids did at the penny pantry as a store. So what did they do at that store, the penny pantry trials? Let me write it down here. Let me do a little bit. Here we go. All right, so Nick sent his friends each day to the penny pantry, which is a store, to buy a pen. However, they didn't call it a pen. They used the word to buy it from the seller, the store clerk, right? The seller. We learned that in economics. All right, so they use the word Frindle only. They could only use the Frindle. And at first she was confused, but after days, the seller, I'll say the seller, started to realize, or start to understand that the word meant pen. So his trials worked. He was trying to see if he can actually get someone that didn't know what he was doing to understand what the word Frindle meant without actually saying Frindle means pen. And they just went in there and they said, oh, can I buy a Frindle? Can I buy a Frindle? Can I buy a blue Frindle? And eventually, after day, she realized, oh, that's the kids just want to buy a pen. That's what they're calling a pen nowadays. So he did change the word pen to Frindle, and he did a trial with a clerk. So, I mean, he was using his problem-solving skills. He's even doing an investigation, which is what you do when you want to see if you can get things to work and you have an idea. So, I mean, this kid is very smart. And we'll see what his teacher ends up saying, because I really want to see what his teacher thinks about that. So clear those answers and go down to number 8. What happened as a result of the penny trials? Select all that apply. Okay, so what happened was Nick and his friends had pencils? No, they're buying pens. Nick and his friends tricked the penny pantry cashier into giving them free pens? No, they actually bought the pens, so they weren't tricking her into doing anything. Nick and his friends caused his word to become a real word. Yes. So she started to realize that that word meant Frindle. So yeah, they did create a new word. So see, Nick and his friends promised they would only use his word and encourage others to use it. Yes. So after the penny trials, they set an oath that they said they would only use the word Frindle and get other people to try to use the word Frindle too. Nick and his friends decided to spend the afternoon pretending to be spies and pranking each other. No, they did call them his secret spies because they were doing an investigation, but they didn't prank each other and spend the afternoon doing that. So no. So it was C and D here. Now, the next one, I am not going to type up for you. I'm just going to read it out loud, my answer. What do you think of Nick's newest idea? Is it a good, bad, and explain? This will actually be the bonus question for today's lesson. So make sure you go on to Edmodo and type it out so you can get credit for the spin the wheel on Friday. So what do you think of Nick's newest idea? Is it good, bad, explain? Well, this is what I wrote down. And remember, so you have to include evidence. Why you think that, so you have to explain. You need to say, oh, it's good. Oh, it's bad. You need to explain. So I think it's a good idea because he is using his learning from class and his project research from class to solve a problem and see if he can indeed create a new word. That is my conclusion. I think it's a good thing. He's trying to use his problem-solving skills, and that's how things are created. That's how people have created. Kids and adults have made new things by using his problem-solving skills and thinking outside of the box. All right, so what do you think? Make sure you go on to Edmodo and share what your thoughts are about his idea. All right, you guys, so here is the next clue. So the next clue is a big egg. Hold on, let me get my big egg. It's over here. Let's see what it is. What could I possibly be doing with these? I'm teaching you something on Friday. What could I be doing with these? Flamingos, and you know I love flamingos. I love flamingos as much as I love Star Wars. And then pineapple. What could I be doing with these? All right, you'll have to see on Friday. One more clue left. Bye, you guys.